Squashing the competition. Well, with a room full of entrepreneurs, I think winning is so important. And who better to learn how to win from than our guest who has quite a catalogue. You are the most successful squash player of all time because you've done 151 successive months in the top 10. And yes, I think that does deserve a round of applause for Nicol David.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
But let's start at the beginning. Let's start how you came to the sport from, as a child in Penang. Tell us about that.
Well, being from Malaysia, and we are not a big sporting nation, but my dad was actually a former footballer for Malaysia, and he was a goalkeeper. And in the house, we were brought up with just sports things all over the house. And so we were just a sporting family. So my two sisters and myself, when I was 5 years old, there was a public squash center that was built in Penang. So it's very rare to find like a public center. But my dad decided to bring us over, and we started from there. I was 5 years old. I had a racket that was cut into half, and because there were no small rackets then. And I started playing, and I never looked back, and it was the best moment of my life to pick up a sport that is very unusual. Obviously, Malaysia is so big in badminton, and everyone asked, why squash? And because I had public access to squash, that was my first sport. So I enjoyed it. I saw myself improving. I got better. I beat my sisters, which was good. That was what every youngest kid in the family would want to do, to beat your siblings. I know some of you here. I'm sure you're like spurred on to beat your sisters and brothers, so that was me. But that set the tone. I wanted to get better. I wanted to be the best in Malaysia and then the best in the region in Asia. At 14 years old, I won the Asian Championships and the Asian Games gold medal. And then I moved on to win my first World Junior title at 15 years old. And that was the first world title that a Malaysian female athlete won. So that just spurred me on to do more. So when I was 18, I decided to move out of Malaysia and become a professional athlete, to live in a foreign country in Amsterdam, which is very odd as well, to have your youngest daughter. My parents were just very brave and bold to let their youngest daughter go to a foreign country to fulfill her dreams, but they did just that. So 18 years old, I was working with a former world champion from Australia, squash champion, and that was my turning point to become a junior player and to become a world champion in 4 years later on.
We heard in an earlier panel talk, Alicia Leo from Women in Sports Empowered talked about the effect, the positive effect that sports can have on young girls, young women. Yeah. Can you talk about some of the confidence that you gained and how and the mental changes that you went through?
It was a huge change, and I didn't really. I think I took it for granted because it just came naturally just by playing a sport. I wanted to get better. I'm up for failure all the time because if you lose a match, you have to find a way to come back. And it was always something to motivate me to get better, find those areas of improvement, and that was my mission. Every time I go in, every time I have a failure or a loss, I hate losing. And I know all of you here feel the same way. You're not achieving what you have achieved if you haven't had any failures. So when I had losses, and as a young kid, you learn how to come back. You learn how to understand that it's not the end of the world. And my parents were the best support system, where they knew that, we don't expect you to do anything. We just want you to be happy, want you to just enjoy the sport. But I'm like, no, I want to win. I want to win. I don't want to lose. And I wanted to find ways. So I was a very small kid growing up. I still am a little small. But I had to find different ways because all the players I played, they were all taller than me. They were bigger. They were stronger. So I had to use my strengths. So my speed, what do I need to do to make it harder for my opponent? So I had to find strategies, even for a young kid. And I knew I could develop so many tools from just playing squash, and that confidence that I knew that I could beat these people, these kids at the time, gave me that confidence to just push myself further and see how far I could go. And that confidence really stuck with me as a kid, and that just translated into just a bigger position in the world, in the arena that I took on. And it translates in my life now. Now it's just a different life altogether, having my own foundation. So yeah, I'm just so thrilled that I had sport to back me up and gave me all those tools and fundamental values.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nicol David.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to Gen.T for this amazing summit and having me here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean.